Hi everyone, how's it going? Welcome to a new session of feedback and an animation blogging demo because I might have a lot of time today. So, hey Jacob, how's it going? So, I'm gonna start actually with your shot. I'm gonna do feedback first. If anyone has anything they want me to look at, feel free to send me a link and I will check it out. Uh, Ideally, a sync sketch link is the best way. And if you can send it over here, that's easier because I might not be checking Discord so much. Hey, Shari. So let me share my screen. Cool. So I know that you have reference for a new shot that you're gonna start. Let me actually first hear the audio because I don't think I've listened to this. So let me play it.
I hightail it, boom, Sonic the Hedgehog style. I'm cruising through the path. There's no way he's catching me.
Nice. Let me just see your planning to understand. Oh my god, you're so tidy with your planning. I love it. It's like everything is so nice and pretty. I'm a bit like ashamed of my plannings now. This is awesome. Okay, I'm reading your subtext. Cool. I think for this I would be a little bit more uh like specific with the subtext because what does this mean when he says and boom Sonic the Hedge Sonic the Hedgehog style? It's like because right now you just put this, but it's not really saying what does he actually mean by that subtext. um is it that he, because I'm guessing that he was going really fast. Let me just see the rest of it. Um, Cyclist. Okay. Hang on, I'm getting a little bit confused. You need to fill in the blanks so that I know what's happening here. But basically, I'm guessing that he was going really fast. And that's why also he says this. But it's like, what is he um, trying to say with that? Because I'm missing that part and I'm not sure what his intention is. Is it just uh, wait for it, boom, I'm so fast? Or is it you'll never catch me? Or is it I don't know. What is he actually saying with that? I think it's it's good to think about it too, just because it's a little bit unclear in terms of what's happening with, because there's a bike chase. He stole something, and I'm guessing he's escaping. Or is it that he's planning it in the first, and then he's doing it, and then he got? I'm trying to again catch up to what is it. Um, so let me see this. He's planning a high, smooth transition into him running away with the loot on his bike, cops chasing behind, and then, okay, so.
I hightail it, boom, Sonic the Hedgehog style.
So this, like, that's the part where, like, even in your reference, I'm not exactly sure what's happening, because I'm not sure what the intention is. So here he's, in this first shot, he's going to be planning. This is like our first, and then this is where you cut to the new one. So let's play
I
this.
hightail it, boom, Sonic the Hedgehog style.
So basically, what I'm missing here is the intention and what he's actually thinking about in this whole area. So, who is he talking to right now? Let me see. He's planning things out. Is he planning it and talking? Um, yeah, who's he talking to? Is he's talking to the camera, but who is the camera? Who is he actually talking to? Is he talking to because even if you're breaking the fourth wall, it's like who will be the audience, or does he know he's talking to an audience? Is he, and also if anyone is chatting right now, I'm not getting messages, so just let me know. Can someone like type something in the chat just so that I know that the messages are going through? Because maybe you are typing a bunch of things and the messages are not appearing for me. So I'm gonna wait until someone tells me that. Yeah. Cool. It works. Okay, great. So right now, what I'm missing is who is he talking to, and that's why like the first part of reference. I don't know if you were seeing, if you watched the stream that we did with Maddie, Catherine, and Ere, where Catherine was talking about the main emotion of that part of whatever this is, and the sub emotions, and how she would try to find three sub emotions and play with that and play with the meaning behind each part. So, for example, here,
Style.
let me play it again.
I hightail it, boom, Sonic the Hedgehog style.
So, here he's saying, I'm hightailing boom, Sonic the Hedgehog style. Like, what is he actually meaning? Is he meaning, um, I'm gonna run away so fast they're never gonna catch me, or is he, I don't know, saying this? I managed to break three. Um, yeah, I know it was so good. They are amazing. Their advice was incredible. So basically, the reason why I'm saying this is that
It, boom,
it's
Sonic
a
the Hedgehog.
little bit unclear who he's talking to, and from there you can figure out what his relationship is, and also who is this guy, because right now it's like he's a chill surfer dude archetype, a mix between Brad Pitt and blah blah, but who is he actually? like like he's a bicyclist, okay, but who is he aside from that? Like, why is he planning to do this heist? Is it because he is desperate for money and he needs it to survive, and he's living in a very dodgy place and he's getting a little bit uh kind of like he's at the verge of, if I don't do this I won't eat tomorrow? Or is it he's actually very, maybe he's very rich and this is where he gets all of the thrill in life, like he's doing it for the thrill rather than doing it for a need? And that's going to be two completely different ways of acting this out, because if he's doing this for the thrill, he's going to maybe do this in a like a very excited way, like I'm gonna do this, and he's very, maybe he's very confident, and like, yeah, he's chill, but maybe he's a little bit more on the confident and cocky side, like, has this done this before? Hey, has this done this before and did it successfully? Is this his first heist? Because if he's his first one, maybe he has beginners lack confidence, like he thinks it's gonna go all well, or maybe is there like a slight tinge of like being afraid because it might not go too well? And who he's talking to, it's not the same if he's talking kind of to himself, but like towards camera, but to himself, or is he talking to like a really good friend, or is he talking to, I don't know, someone he hired to help him in the heist. That's going to be really different in terms of what's happening. And for example, here, again, it's not that I'm saying the gear reference
Boom,
is
Sonic the
terrible
Hedgehog
or
style.
anything. It's more how do we fine tune so that we find the tiny acting choices that are going to make him more relatable and more feeling like a very solid character that has a reason to be there. So, for example, let's go back to your planning. And again, if there's anything that I'm saying that doesn't go with what you had planned or anything, just let me know because I'm getting all of this from like, this is the first time that I'm seeing this. So these are just my thoughts in terms of what I'm seeing and how detailed you can be in your planning. So, um, like, is he also talking to one person or is he talking to more people? Because if there's more people, then your eye line is going to change as you talk. Is this the first time that he's showing the plan to these people, or have they gone over it so many times that this is like, okay, this is how it's gonna go, this is like the last time I'm talking about this before we go and do it, kind of like if you've watched, what's it called, Ocean's 11, when they go over the plan, like there's a part where it's like, okay, this is how it's gonna go, and they already have the plan, and it's like, okay, we're just telling this as a last, like the last time that we're gonna go over the plan. Whereas I think in um, the latest version of the Italian Job, they kind of at first go over the plan, and they go over the plan, but they are creating the plan as they go rather than saying, okay, this is a summary of the plan and this is what we already know what we're going to do. They start like, oh, maybe we can do this, maybe we can do that. So which stage is he in is going to also inform you of his acting choices, because let's say um, this is the last time, this is like, okay, we've already planned this amazingly, like we know exactly how everything is going to go, and we're just doing a summary so that we're ready to go. So here, what was it, the line again? Hang on.
I hightail it, boom, Sonic the Hedgehog style.
So maybe when he says, instead of saying boom, Sonic the Hedgehog style, maybe let's say he has the maps and maybe he has a miniature version of a bicycle. This is a bad idea, but this is like the first thing that came to my brain. Because if you're planning something, maybe you have like a seat, like a model of the city, just like you can do it with just squares or whatever, and it's like a road, and he says boom, and maybe he says boom, and like he moves it away with his arm to make it seem like it exploded, and he grabs the tiny bicycle and he's like Sonic the Hedgehog style, and he just like he's like he moves it really fast, as if to say, this is what I'm gonna do, this is how I'm gonna escape. Again, it can be that something completely different. It's just, I feel like you're missing a little bit of uh, a little bit more description to your subtext. Even for this, I hightail it and boom, wait for it, boom, wait for what? Like I feel like we're missing maybe what had happened before for him to say wait for it, because we're starting this shot without knowing anything from what happened before. So for him to start this with the subtext wait for it, it might feel a little bit off in terms of your like how it informs your acting choices. So like maybe the and is the wait for it, but the I hightail it could be, this is how it's gonna go, this is what we're doing, something so that like maybe you see the determination of that character, something that is a little bit more specific to that. I think that that's going to help you a lot in terms of your reference, because here if he's planning, I feel like we're the only moment where we see the planning is this, and it happens so quickly that we're missing out the idea of, oh, they are planning a heist. It happened so quickly because think of this, no one has seen anything about your shot, and they need to understand what's happening in this at the beginning here, and it's happening a little bit too fast. So let me play it again.
Hightail it, boom, Sonic the Hedgehog.
It's like we need to very, very quickly be like, oh, when he did that, it meant that they are doing something about planning, and then by the time that we caught up to it, you're moving into another shot. So if you keep with the idea, okay, they are planning the heist, what can they do? What can this character do to keep showing us that he's actually planning this very, very specifically? Again, like I said, maybe he has the tiny bicycle model and he moves it around, or maybe it's on, like, maybe let's say it's the whiteboard and there's like a magnet of the bike, and he's like Sonic style, and he moves it really like really fast with it's just a magnet, so he just drags it around, and it's like a drawing of the city rather than a model, a 3D model. That could also be an option for, again, just throwing out ideas. I'm not saying these are good ones, just showing you how you could push the idea of planning a little bit more. So let me watch the second part. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm cruising through the path. There's no way he's catching me. I'm cruising through the path.
That's really funny.
There's no way he's catching me. I'm cruising through the path. There's no way he's catching me.
I think that, yeah, this yeah, if you can attach something to the bike and have it be really like you're really going fast, or maybe book one day at a gym and then use their bikes as you reference there, and you just use it for that one time. Nice. If you can do that, that'd be super cool, because if you can do it in a street, like just like you just have the selfie stick and then you are doing the actual motion and looking behind and everything, that'd be the perfect reference.
Cruising through the path. There's no way he's catching me.
But I think the idea of your reference is a good idea. The only thing that maybe I would have a little bit more energy to it, but that's, you're gonna get that from actually riding the bike fast, and maybe like you swerve a little bit, and it's like a very, very quick look around back, because right now
I'm cruising through the path. There's no way
maybe like you can push that a little bit, but you can even do that in animation.
me.
I think that the idea that you have for this acting works. So for me, this is really cool. Oh yeah, week 4 of the acting. Ugh, yeah. I think that part could be maybe a slightly faster. Let me just see something. Yeah, cool. So let me just. I think that this could be way, way faster in terms of how this comes in. Like even his action and everything could be a little bit faster, because I think that we're holding this maybe a little bit too long, especially considering what we had just seen. If I think that if you do it a little bit faster, where maybe it's just a few frames and already that thing closes, the door to the cell. I don't know how it's called, whatever it's called, but that door thingy. I think if it's faster, it's gonna have a higher comedic effect, because if not, we're just seeing him sitting for a bit too long. So if it closes really fast, maybe up to here, and kind of after it closes, he goes, And there's like maybe like you can even push that down even a little bit more when he does this instead of just this. Just and I would think of also, because I don't think you have it here. I would also think of when you're doing this planning, even though the last scene doesn't have any audios, I would uh, think of the subtext of this part. What is he feeling in this moment? Just so that you think about it, because if you write it down, it's going to inform your acting choices. Like you could even try a few different types of reference. I'm not sure which stage you are with the references, if this is the second time you're showing it to Sean or the first time, but I know that sometimes he asks for different takes of the same reference. So for example, is he feeling like, oh man, I I totally like I bumped this, I should have done this better, I should have been faster? Or is he like because that is like, oh, I should have been better, I should have been faster? Or is it that maybe was he is this the third time that he's been caught? He's like, ugh, I suck at this. Like, again? Are you kidding me? Like, that's more frustration. That is more yeah, exactly. Three different takes. Exactly. So I would play with the subtext. That's perfect. That ties into, if you rewatch what Catherine said, again, think of the main emotion and the different sub emotions that you can have. Like maybe for the end, again, even if it's kind of pantomime, one could be frustration, another could be, I don't know, sadness, and another could be he feels defeated. And so those are three completely different that will give you different acting choices, where not every acting choice could be the same. And maybe in some takes he's not sitting down, because in this one he's sitting down. Maybe another, like a funny one, could be he's here, and whatever the pose is, you kind of copy. Like, let's say he was here, like maybe it's slightly more like a close up, maybe even this shot is a little bit more like a close up, and then he's just, it's like it switches and it's just like the background changes, and his whole demeanor, he was like, and then depending, again, this is a bad acting choice, but I'm think about whatever the subtext is to that pantomime. But it could be that, like, instead of sitting down, one version is just like the background changes and he's still kind of there, so it's not like a jump to another completely different option. That's just saying, I'm not saying that what you have is wrong. I'm saying a different take, since you have to show three different ones. Maybe one of them he's not necessarily sitting down. Like maybe there's a different take that you can add to play with the idea, because the reason why he started doing this three different takes is so that you can play with the composition and the acting choices, and you can explore more than just the exact same idea that you had, and push your imagination to new things. So yeah, I think those are my main notes. Even for this, I would think about the three different emotions, sub emotions, um, so that you can have different acting choices to this and have completely different takes, because that's like maybe in one he's slightly scared that he's going to get caught, but he's still cocky because he thinks he's not gonna get caught, but there's like a slight scare, like, and there's a little bit more panic in that. Maybe they're closing in. Maybe in another he's super confident and he's like super swerving, like, ah, they're never gonna catch me, and he's doing all these crazy things because he doesn't care. I don't know. Like you could have like three different, like like two extremes and the middle, where you think about those extremes of maybe one is incredibly confident and in the others he's panicking, and then one in the middle that is kind of the in between of those emotions. So yeah, I do you have any questions? I don't know if that helped, but this is kind of me taking what I learned from the acting demo. Awesome. Perfect. Yeah, I think that the best thing you can do is make it as specific as you can and really, really think about his backstory. Like, write down everything you know about him. What does he like? What does he hate? Like, the whole story about and what's gonna happen. Like, what's his goal? Okay, it's to do a heist, but why? Why is he going to go through this heist? Why is he robbing this bank, this specific bank? Why is he running away in a bicycle? Okay, he's a bicyclist. Why? Like, did he used to be a really famous one who used to win races, and so he thinks he can get away from everything because he's super fast, and that's why he's so confident? Or is it just that he never learned to drive a car, so the only means of transport he has is a bicycle? And then that gives you, again, completely different acting choices and ways of the character being, because when you're acting this out in front of your camera, you're going to think about all of this backstory, and it's going to inform you more, because if he has won a million races before, he has this extreme confidence that you can put into the character. Even if he's chill, like, he can be chill, but he still can be super confident about it. So um I would think about this a little bit more, and I think it's going to help you a lot. Keep being amazing with how pretty everything is, because I love this. Like, I wish I were so, like, careful. Like, is this your, like, I'm guessing this is your actual, um how do you say it? Like, when you that's like your actual handwriting. If Because if not, can you make it into a font that I can download? Because I love it. It's so pretty. So yeah, cool. If you have any other questions, let me know. I love it. So cool. So let's get into Shari. I haven't seen any of this because I was preparing a few things. Yeah, no problem. Before the stream, so I haven't looked at it, but let me play it through and then we can go over it.
Musky.
Why is this so low? Let me just turn this up a little bit more.
Musky. Musky.
So let me just refresh my memory what you said that you were working on. You were working on Jules' body, getting the poses right, cleaning up the spacing. Perfect. Cool, cool, cool.
Musky.
I feel like overall everything is reading well, and you have what you need, but I think that some parts of the body are starting to feel a little bit disconnected. And in some moments the hips also feel like they could use a little bit more moving, because it feels like they are just a little bit stuck. So for example, here you're going from this pose to this pose, but the hips are kind of staying in place and they are only rotating. So I have like, especially all of this, the upper body is moving a lot and is rotating, but the hips are completely stuck in place. And sometimes when this happens, when I'm not sure what's happening, I go back to my reference just to see how far I strayed from it, because sometimes maybe there's a little bit of motion that I've missed, that because of pushing the character's line of action, now I need to push how far the character moves in space, to compensate, because sometimes probably in your reference the character was here and he didn't change so much, the rotations of the chest, and so uh, that's when you're in your reference, maybe he didn't move as much. Let me just do something that I've forgotten. Okay, there we go. Um, so let me figure this out, and also let me delete this. So I like to look at things in steps. So here, I would maybe, as he's coming forward, move him a little bit. Let me think of my own body mechanics. If I'm here, and I'm gonna stand up just so that I know exactly, because sometimes I'm not exactly sure and I don't want to say something that's completely wrong. And when I'm not sure, this is something that I recommend doing as well. When you're not sure of something, like I would stand up and I would copy. So he's here and he's okay. So what's happening when I do that is my hips are moving back to compensate for all of that motion of the body coming forward. So when the body's doing this, if the hips are here, I would move them a little bit further back. And let me just and turn this on. So if they were there, I would move them back a little bit more. And Shari, if you have any questions, just let me know as I go. But basically, what I would avoid is having them completely stuck in place. Because it's usually if the upper body is rotating and doing things, it means that the hips are also rotating. And when the hips rotate, they also translate most of the times. And fun fact, if you're ever animating a dog and you're using, because I learned this recently, and you're rotating the IK chest, you also have to translate it because it always translates a little bit. And also like their tummy area. Fun fact. And that's also what that's going to do um, is probably like you can basically try and keep his chest here where it is and only translate the hips. That could be something that you can try. And also when he's doing and he's inhaling, I would also bring the hips up ever so slightly, just to like a few pixels, just so that it feels like his everything is moving up as he's inhaling. Everything is pushing up, especially because there's so much movement. I would also do that. And let me play it up to here. And here I feel like you're going too quickly into like looking here. I know that you said that you didn't animate the face, but when you're because here you are splining, right? Yeah. Okay. So when I'm slining, I try to at least think of a little bit of the eye direction and where he's moving. And right now, what's happening is that it feels a little bit too easy that he smelled it and he already knows it's to the side. And if there's like a smell to in a room, it kind of takes over the whole air because it's not a solid, so it takes up whatever space there is in the room. So maybe what you can do is he smells here, and instead of like right now, you kind of have the eye line going one way, but the head is already starting to go the other way, which is also very confusing because if you look to one side, let's say I look that way, I'm not gonna move my head to the other side because that's kind of contradictory to where he's what he's actually doing because the eyes are the closest thing to the brain. So whatever the eyes are doing is going to inform kind of the rest of the body. Like sometimes it's different. Let's say, I don't know, you're playing games and your mom calls you, your body's maybe like your game is, you're going to still play the game and the body's going to start moving, but you still want to play. That's different. But in this case, he's very aware of what he's doing. So if he's looking to the side, he's going to rotate his head that way, because he's going to also, the reason is also because he's not trying to look at the smell, he's trying to smell it. So he's going to rotate his head the other way. So here I would rotate his head kind of that way in RY first, and like, and then he looks to the other side. And when he looks at the other side, actually make him look like, I know that again, you said that you were not working on the face so much, but try to have those eye lines a little bit sooner when you're working, just so that you can inform what's happening with it. So like over here, maybe he's already looking, and you can even add a blink so that you like, he's looking and he blinks and then he looks to the side, just so that you don't have the eyes just suddenly go from here to here to here without any blinks, because it's starting to, it would get very creepy if he doesn't. If he's, and then he looks to the side, that's okay, but then you can blink and turn. Like as he's starting to turn, he blinks, because also if you're gonna rotate your head, if you're gonna move side to side, the reason why we blink is so that if we do that rotation really fast, if we keep our eyes open, again, because it's so close to the brain and blah blah blah, we see kind of everything flashing by and our brain gets confused. This is again what I've been told. I'm not a neuroscientist or eye doctor or whatever, but this is what I've been told. If we keep our eyes open, it's like we see all of that movement really fast, and even I tried to do it now with my eyes closed. um, and our brain can't process that much information so quickly. Again, this is what I've been told. So that's why we blink if we do that. The only times in which we wouldn't would be maybe if we looked really quickly and then turned, but it, again, it would give a really creepy vibe. So even if it's just a close and that's it, I like to put that in all of my blinks in my blocking so that I have that information already in. But definitely make him here look sideways to screen left rather than already screen right. And when he's doing this, remember also to have a nice arc on the nose, because right now it's kind of just moving diagonally. Even if I turn this on, see how it's moving diagonally? Try to add a little bit of an arc. Like if he's looking sideways, he could arc down. Potentially he could arc up. Maybe he's like, and then he moves down. Maybe he's like just looking to the side. And then you can even add, because if he's going to smell, you can add a bit of like nose motion. And then maybe he smells to the other side and then he looks down, and then your arc will be up and down. You could also do that. Just a little bit more business so that it's not so straightforward also how he goes into looking at this, because if not, it feels too perfect, too calculated, too much like he knew where to look and what to do. And I would also hold this pose maybe for a little bit longer, so that maybe he's like, and he holds that, like he gets there and he slightly overshoots and comes back down, and we can see him, and then he looks to the side and then to the other, just a little bit, because it feels like he didn't finish smelling and he's already looking sideways. So finish that inhale and then go into the other. And add a little bit more motion also to the shoulders. So here it feels kind of like the shoulders are always in the same position. So when you inhale such a big inhale, you can bring those shoulders up. So in this moment, he can bring those, especially because again, it's such a big motion, it's such a um big inhale that you can bring those shoulders up quite a bit more. And again, when he settles, you bring them down. You can also, again, as you do this, I think Jules has a breath control. You can push it so that the chest um, inflates. And yes, you could argue that you can do that in polish, but it's part of the blocking actually because it's a big inhale. It's not just him moving his chest. There's this is expanding. So I would personally already add it in. Like if you didn't add it in blocking, you can add it in spline, but I wouldn't wait until polish also because it's going to push the hands out a little bit potentially. So add it in already. So for this motion, I think that it might be a little bit too big how he goes back. And the reason for this is he's it feels like he's doing too like motions that are way too big all the time. He's like and then too many super big emotions. And we're we're trying to also take a look at what she is doing. And if he's moving too much, we're gonna have all of our focus on him on this moment when he's doing this, where we actually want to be looking at her. Like he's just he already like he already had our attention at the beginning. Now we want to focus actually on her. And if he's doing very, very big moves, our focus is going to be with him and we're going to miss what she's doing. So personally, I would tone this down. Even like maybe you need to just reshoot some more reference because I think that what you have might be too exaggerated. So I would maybe let's just reshoot reference for like literally this part if you want, because I feel like it's maybe a little bit too fast. Potentially you could just like take frames from this look and then go into this, but I would basically not have him go back so much. I would just have him rotate instead of doing this big anticipation. I wouldn't do such a big anticipation. I would just where's my drawing? I'm gonna remove this. I would just basically have him turn more where he is. Like you can basically tone this down to like 10% of what you have. Because let's say I find something and I'm like I looked at it and I was like, oh, I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna be like, "Rup," and I'm not gonna do such a big anticipation. I'm just gonna be like, oh, maybe his anticipation is actually as he's turning, he's coming up, so he's preparing to grab it, but the anticipation is actually just going up and down. So sometimes you can the way that you can do anticipation, and this is something that if you're an animation mentor, if you go to the resources tab and you type in Jason Martinson, um, you will find one that is anticipations and breakdowns, where he talks about this really, really well. And basically, like to sum it up very, very, in a very, very quick summary, basically what he says is when you're doing a breakdown or an anticipation, not everything has to anticipate. So in this case, what's happening is he's here and everything is, except the rotation in Y, everything is anticipating. The hips are going back, the chest is going backwards, everything is anticipating. But what you can do is basically have a few things already moving towards the objective, so that to the next pose. So here you have the rotation, so the rotation is already starting, but maybe even the hips haven't eased out. Maybe there's like a very slight rotation back with the chest, but maybe everything is going up. And so your anticipation, instead of everything moving backwards, just a few things are going in the reverse of what they're gonna be, if that makes any sense. If you watch that lecture, honestly, it's the best lecture you can ever have on anticipation and breakdown. So I would recommend it for everyone, even if you've graduated from AM or whatever. It's a really, really good lecture. If I can never find something like that online, I'll check, because I know that he's done lectures outside of AM. So I'll see if I can find it anywhere. So I would basically just tone this down quite a bit. And even here, I don't know if I would have him be so pushed back. Again, take it or leave it. This is just my big note for this shot, just because it feels like there's too many big motions and we're going to be distracted from what she's doing. I personally would shoot very, very quick reference for just this and have it be like a very simple, he's here, he looks at it, and he's like, oh, I'm going to grab it. Because again, like when I'm doing it, I feel like my body wants to go up and down. Maybe your body does something different, but I'm not like uh pushing that too much, because if not, it's starting to get too animated, and that is not necessarily a good thing unless you're doing something incredibly cartoony. When something is too animated, it feels more like you were just pushing the principles to push them, like anticipation and line of action. And like sometimes you don't need it. If you're doing something really cartoony, yeah, go ahead, do whatever. But in this case, I think you can tone it down quite a bit. So I would personally rework this a little bit more, at least until this pose. So from frames 33 to 53. I know that it sounds like a lot, but it's not that much. Um, okay, let me see. Is it this? It's not a this is not a cartoony shot. You're going for stylized. If it were a cartoony shot, everything would be cartoony. If you're doing just bits where it's cartoony, but the rest is stylized, it feels odd, because you didn't set up, like if it were cartoony, this would like open really fast and they were like jump in. So you don't have that cartoony motion to this. This is going more for stylized. Let me see this. Yeah, exactly. This for me works much better. It feels much more natural. I also really like, I prefer this staging to this. For me, this one isn't as appealing as this one. I'm not sure, like, if you changed it just because of, I don't know, not showing this, you can just move this. I personally think this reads way better than this one, because here we have him too much to the side. And also we're seeing, like, I don't know, I feel like this was more appealing personally. I'm not sure why because again, I haven't seen this in a long time, so I'm not sure what's happened in the middle. I personally think it would be better to just go back to this version overall.
Musky.
All of this for me works way better. It was simple and it didn't have so much, and we can start focusing a little bit more on her. I know that's like the worst thing I can tell you, because it's basically, yeah, you had something great, go back to a million versions ago. Oh yeah, you can tone that down potentially, but I think this version works as is. Like I don't know if if you say it's jumping too much in TC, like in the blocking it doesn't show. If when you splined it, that it jumped, then maybe you need to rework your curves. Um, but I like this version better. I'm so sorry.
Musky.
I think it's way more appealing.
Musky.
I think that this one is also a little bit too,
Musky.
like there's too, like he feels again over animated. Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's the thing that's kind of what you're saying is exactly the feeling that I'm getting. Like you just kept on going without actually going back. And this is for everyone who's here, this is very common. Like I've had it happen to me a million times when you just get too far into the splining process that you lose track of what you were actually doing. So sometimes when something is taking too long in terms of splining, what I like to do is I take my latest play blast of my blocking, I put it here, like I do with my reference, and then I watch both, and I'm like, okay, because basically when you're splining, what you're trying to do is getting back the feeling of the blocking in a spline version, because basically when you spline, everything moves more slowly, like your timing is not exactly what you had planned because the curves are soft, everything is soft, so all you have to do is tweak it a little bit just so that you get back the feeling and you clean up any hitches and glitches and anything that's gonna happen in, like, maybe, I don't know, something suddenly moved a lot or you had gimbal lock or whatever. But I have my blocking there just so that I look at it and I'm like, okay, how far did I stray from my first pass? And in this case, I feel like you may have strayed a little bit too far. I personally think this was better. Like, even in terms of the composition, I feel this is more appealing. Like, yes, here he's in a third. He doesn't need necessarily, not doesn't mean that every single time everything needs to be on a third. Yeah, it does feel like that. So I think it would be better to just go back to this version. And if you need to, like, take a full day break, like, don't animate for a full day, look at something else, don't worry about this shot, just because if you're too into a shot, you start to lose what, like, not like vision, but like you start to lose the sense of what's actually happening with this shot. And just take a day off, don't animate, don't look at this shot, enjoy life, and then come back to it, um and just work on
Musky.
this. And I think it's gonna be really successful, even like the facial posing and everything. I do think though that here I would still add the note of when he looks to the side. Here it feels like he's already, like, his body's rotating, his head is rotating, everything is rotating. No, personally I would do that note of looking to the side and then looking to the other side, to screen left and then screen right. And when you're splining this, just make sure that, for example, here the whole body is rotating and with the head. It would be better if, like, the eyes move first and then the head and then the chest and then the hips, so that there's a bit more of a breaking up of the motion rather than everything moving at the same time, which is this feeling. It's more of 1 2 3, where one leads, then the, and it's not that it's one, then two, and then the hips. It's more, one starts moving, then the chest follows, and then the hips. But it's like, uh, in the middle of the motion of the previous one, rather than one after the other.
Musky.
Yeah. So yeah, do you have any questions? Cause yeah, sorry. Also, if anyone has anything that they want me to look at, feel free to send a link. If not, I'm gonna start blocking something online, which it's gonna be very, very stressful probably. So yeah, if you don't have any questions, I'm gonna start with the demo. But yeah, good luck with this. I think once this is for the second version, I personally like this staging. I like this staging much better than this one, because this one, I mean, I think that we're like the thing that's appealing about this version is first this change of the size. This is much bigger. I mean, yes, we want her to be more important, but in terms of appeal, in terms of staging, I think this one feels more appealing. Oh, this one? Oh, okay, cool, cool, cool. Hang on, this doesn't want to load very well for me. Let me just refresh. Uh, I'm not sure. Let me see. Yeah, I think this one might be more appealing. I'm not sure. There's something really nice about this one, but I feel like this one might working better. I feel like I would want this same staging, but him maybe a little bit bigger, like you had him in the previous one. Slightly bigger. So slight by what I mean by slightly bigger is basically more towards camera. But the like this, I would keep it where it is. Especially because right now what's happening, if I look at him, it feels like he's barely moving. And you're kind of cutting him in this line, which feels also a little bit weird. Whereas in this one, I feel like because we don't see it. I feel like in this one you can just bring him a little bit more forward overall, so that also his hips travel a little bit more in C depth, so more towards camera. But yeah, I think that this staging works better. It's just bringing him at the end a little bit more forward. Okay. Let me see for her. Yeah, I think I think I would keep this one. Just have him more forward. But yeah. Do you have any other questions? Cool. Yeah, after this show you need like a break from animation. You've seen it for way too long. You need to like take a break from this shot. No, honestly, I think that the problem is not like you're saying you lost faith, but the problem isn't your animation skills. The problem is that you've seen it for way too long, and so you've lost the idea of the whole picture. Yeah, and even if you didn't have time on it, like if you're doing other things and everything, maybe you do it also kind of in a rush or stressed, or like, oh, I have to do it, so you're not actually giving it the attention that it needs. Not that you're not paying attention when you're doing it, I mean that if you're stressed, if there's a lot going on in your life, then when you're animating, you're thinking about all of those other things in the background. Your sub emotions are stress. And that never helps because you're just animating for the sake of animating rather than animating to learn or animating with a specific goal in mind. So even if it means taking a break for a full week from this shot, that can give you a lot of perspective because now you're going to see it with new eyes. I know that a week sounds like a lot, but it's better than just pushing through just to push through. That's not going to get you anywhere. You're just going to get more stress. You're going to make more mistakes because the more stressed you are, the more mistakes you make. And I've had this where I had to go back versions and versions back because I just kept messing it up. Even at work. At work, one time I was animating recently one of the characters and I had to do it in spline because of the nature of the character. And I just kept doing it, and suddenly I look at it and I'm like, this is way worse than when I started. So I closed the Maya file and I told my lead, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna go on my lunch break and I'm not gonna look at this until I come back. Like I'm gonna go on my lunch break. I might take a longer lunch break. I can like we're the work hours are very flexible, so if I take an extra half an hour, I can just work half an hour more at the end of the day. So I told her, I told her every like the character is breaking, and my lead was like, "Oh no, what's happening?" I said, "Me, I am the problem. It's breaking because I don't know how to animate this character." And, and so when I came back from my lunch break, where I basically literally did not look at anything, I think I may have watched the TV show. I may have gone. I think I went on a walk actually to actually not look at screens. And when I came back, it's like, okay, now I have a better idea of what I need and I have a plan to follow. So if you can take a day off or a week off and then come back to it, I think it will do you very good, especially if you're not having a lot of time on it. It could be that you just need to deal with other things in your life and then come. Honestly, a week is not going to change if you're like, oh, but I want to apply to places with this shot. A week is not going to make that big of a change. It's not going to change your whole life just a week off from this. Um, and honestly, I like if you're saying that you lost faith on your skills. I've seen your growth because I know Shari for I don't know how long now. I've seen her work for many months, and I can tell you that your skills are progressing really well. Everything that I've seen, you're getting more appealing shapes. You're getting better with your overall polish skills. So I think uh, the only reason why you're feeling like you're losing faith is because you're overwhelmed. If you look back at your older shots and you look at this one, you're going to see a huge improvement. And like, again, if you're feeling like you're lost, like you're losing motivation or faith, go back and see your shots from class 2 and then look at this and you're going to be like, okay, I can do this because you're doing it. Um yeah, exactly. Just take a break. Like if there's something that we've learned from Hamilton, the musical, is bad things happens when you don't take a break. So take a break, run away for the summer, go upstate, whatever you prefer. Uh, do you have any other questions for this? And again, if anyone wants me to review anything, feel free to send me a link. I'll be taking links now and until I finish what might be a horrible blocking. I'm very scared. Awesome. You can do this. I believe in you. Take a break. And there's David Tennant as like when I was a big fan of Doctor Who. So let's get into blocking a shot while somebody maybe sends me a link to review. Uh, so this is part of a short that Madison and Daniel started. Thank you. Um, Daniel and Madison started a while back, and they've already animated incredible shots. I'm going to try and do them justice, but we're gonna do our best here. And they were gracious enough to lend us some of their shots to a few of us, and we're having like a little bit of a team here where they are going to be the directors. So once I have my blocking, I'm going to show it to them. Maybe they can review it on stream and give me feedback and be like, this sucks, you suck, why did we trust you with this shot? I'm going to be, I don't know, you said, hey, do you want to do this? And I say yes. So let's prepare this because I only was able to fix a few things that were happening with my scene, but I kind of don't have anything. Wasn't able to put in my reference. I didn't even open the picker. So let's start with everything. And oh, thank you for following. If anyone heard that sound, that's Daniel's fault. He put in that sound, and every time that we get a follower, I feel like something just crashed. Thanks, Dan. It does keep everyone on their toes. It's like if you're working on Maya right now, please save. Just save. In fact, I'm gonna save just in case. Okay, I don't have anything to save. Okay, let's open the picker. I think I have it somewhere. Yeah, thanks for the subscription. Oh my god, Daniel, why did you choose those sounds? Thanks for the sub. Thanks, Jacob. We really appreciate it. And yes, I'm speaking plural. Let's find our pickers because I don't know where I put the picker. I downloaded it just now. Sorry that everything is so um messy, but I basically decided to do this kind of last minute. I was like, "Oh, this would be a good thing to do." 'Cause why not? Aw, thank you. We appreciate you. Thanks for trusting us with giving you feedback. Oh, this is a different. Oh, maybe this is not. I don't know what. Uh, is the. Does anyone know here if? Because I don't know why I was. If the picker for Apollo that was done is for the anim school picker? We're learning together, guys. Does anyone know if the picker is the anim school picker? I don't even remember where I have my anim school picker, so I might need to re-download it because I feel like I may have it somewhere, but I don't remember where it is. Also because um some of my views are gone, so where are my views? Display. No. Heads up display. I might just need to reset my current workspace and see if I have my hey anim school picker. Oh my god. I'm so sorry for everyone for coming here and thinking, oh, I'm gonna learn how to block today. No, we're gonna troubleshoot what happens when nothing is working. Ha 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 ha. And let me bring back all of my things. So I have my graph here and nice. And then my outliner, I need it. Maybe I don't need it for this. I can live without my outliner. So I'm just gonna try and see if the anim school picker is the one. For anyone who doesn't know it, you can just download the picker. As far as I know, it's free. So let's just download it and figure out how to do this. I haven't done this in so long. So if anyone again has any links that they want me to check out, feel free. Ugh, I should actually read the install files. Like, how do we install this? Uh, okay. So as far as I understand, I have to maybe change this. And change this to my version. Okay. Scope picker. Okay. Let's see if that works. Nope. So if anyone here knows a better way to edit this, feel free to say something. Because I clearly am messing things up. Thanks, Ayub. You could be helping here. You went to anim school, but no, of course. You're just gonna laugh. Oh, there's an install mail. Maybe if I just drag this. Okay, we're getting there. This is. You suck, Ayu. You should. Like, I know him. That's why I talk to him like this. You suck. You should be helping me. Expired. I like just download it. Oh, you know what? Fine. We're not gonna use the picker today. We don't need a picker to animate. We're just gonna animate without a picker. We're just gonna probably just blocking the body. I don't use a picker for the body. Yeah, me too. But usually it used to work, so I don't know why suddenly it's not working. Doesn't matter. Let's set this up. And let's set everything up how I like it. I will lock the camera. I will also select the camera. And personally, I like to change this so that the thing around it is black because I like it better that way. And I can't remember where it is. Here. Gate mask color. There we go. That feels better for me. I'm going to show curves here and we're going to get the reference. So for anyone who's been to one of my streams before or seen our demo, this is how I basically put in my reference and how I analyze it. So we're going to basically do everything from scratch here because this is the first time that I open this. Gladly, Madison shot beautiful reference and I didn't have to do it myself. So this is going to be way better than anything I've ever done just because I have great reference. So we're going to create a free image plane. We're going to try and find it here. I do need my outliner actually. And I like to have it on this side. There we go. This is usually my setup. My real setup, I usually have my shot come far away in another screen that like it the whole screen is covering my with my shot because I like to see everything and I don't want to miss anything. But we are not going to have that here. I'm going to name this, always name everything. And something that I like to do nowadays, especially at work, because I feel like somebody's going to maybe put this accidentally in the movie, is just change the outline color to something very noticeable so that we know, oh, once everything is done, we will just delete this reference. That's just me prepping everything for what I need. And let's bring our reference in. And let's remember where the reference is. Images? Shot? Yes. Haha. Okay. Cool. We have our reference. And use image sequence. And this shoots to our date. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. Now I'm going to have the camera control the reference. And the reason for this is just so that if the camera moves, my reference is going to be static. So I'm not going to maintain offset. And then I'm going to just grab the reference and move it backwards in space. And now I can have my reference always there. And just to make sure is the reference playing? No, of course it's not. Because nothing works the first time you do it. Okay, why is my reference not working? Let's just delete the expression and key this ourselves. I'm pretty sure it's not working because of the frame in and frame out. I don't know why they are not how they should be. And I hate doing math on stream. So I'm just... Okay, there we go. And here is going to be 81. Oh, type? No. Oh, oh man, I know some Swedish. I forgot all my Swedish right now. Hey, that's as far as I remember. No, but the image type, the type is, isn't it? No, is it? But it should be an image because it's an image. That's very weird. Because if it's a movie, this is not a movie though. It's an image. It's okay. We're gonna figure it out as we go. But that's the thing. I can put it here. Frame in. What's my frame in? 7, 8, 9. And my frame out is 9:59. Okay. It's okay. We're gonna figure it out. Somehow this is gonna work. See, this is welcome to me troubleshooting something so that everything works. Oh, and frame offset. Actually, I forgot to type this in because it doesn't start at 0. Haha! I fixed it. No, no, no. It's good. It like I know that the image plane works and everything. It was just I forgot that I needed to add the frame offset. I knew it. I knew I could do it. So now we have everything we need. Yay! Wait, is it working again? Is my Maya? Okay, now we're gonna save because I don't want to have to do this ever again. And this is gonna take a while. There we go. I'm not gonna have my image planes here or whatever this is. And so the first thing I personally do when I'm blocking is I analyze my reference. So this gladly, like Madison already thought about the subtext, she already thought about everything, but now I have to actually animate. So I have to analyze how I'm going to do this. And I'm not a straight ahead person, so I'm not just gonna animate. That's not how I work. Even at work, I don't just animate. So you're gonna have to watch me analyze this and how I would actually do this. So I'm just gonna get this a little bit bigger because now all I need is to analyze my reference, to think, okay, where do I need my keys and breakdowns to be? What's the minimum thing that I need to block this shot out? I love this also. I'm going to play it so that everyone can watch it because I have seen it many ages ago, but I don't think anyone has watched it. So let's play it so that we are aware of what we're gonna do. What is our blocking going to be? What do we have to expect from this shot? I always like to know what I'm doing before I start. And in the meantime, while that one is play blasting, I don't know if you guys can see, but there, let me see if I can just change this for a second. There, I have a new book that I bought. Is on um basically what was it the name of it, The Art of Blue Sky, and I got it for £10, really cheap. So if anyone is in London and you want The Art of Blue Sky for £10, go to Forbidden Planet. No, no, they are not sponsoring us. They could. Look, I'm selling their stuff. And I bought it today, and now it's my display book because I'm very happy. Like, I couldn't get into Blue Sky and I will never get into Blue Sky because it doesn't exist. So all I have is that, uh, the art of Blue Sky. I guess it's as good as that, right? Yay. Okay, so let's play this.
Oh, I'm not acting.
Nice.
Oh, I'm not acting.
I don't know if maybe I should shift the
Oh,
reference a little
I'm
bit
not acting.
because it's not hitting where I need it to hit.
Oh, I'm not acting.
Maybe it is, but I feel like I could.
I'm not acting.
I think I can change this
I'm not acting.
to shift the basically all of the reference a little bit sooner, just so that it hits a little bit. Sorry, Maddie and Dan, I'm changing this
I'm not acting.
just a little bit.
Oh, I'm not acting. Oh, I'm not acting.
Yeah, especially I think maybe it is like this because it feels. Let me just double check basically where the again. I didn't shoot this. I didn't do this, so I'm not as familiar with this project as Daniel and Madison are. I'm just getting into it. So I need to make sure that everything is how it should be before I get started, just for obvious reasons. So this has 225 frames, has the reference, and this is 7, 8, 9 minus. Oh yeah, I can definitely shift the references longer than the shot, so clearly I can shift this. And just so that I have more room to play, I will change my frame out. And now I basically need to match what the audio is doing to the reference. This shot is gonna take several streams for me to block it out, by the way. Huh, the ha is the. But actually, it feels like the reference should start. Daniel and Madison, if you're here, can you just let me know? Because she's so good at acting that you thought it was the someone else. Yes, I know. So let me just. I'm gonna message them just to confirm. Um, just to make sure that we're doing things. Because I'm not sure. If not, we can just start blocking kind of what we see. Like, we can start analyzing the reference, and that's it. But yeah, we're gonna start analyzing the reference and hope that this is gonna be what we need. So, what would I do when I'm gonna analyze my reference? What am I looking for? So, I'm gonna turn this sound off. When I'm analyzing reference, I don't really need sound. And I'm going to look at what the body is doing. Basically, I'm gonna scrub through and feel, okay, where are my extremes? Where are my, I don't know, apexes of curves? Do I need any breakdowns, like an ease in, ease out, something like that, so that the motion reads? Basically, is what do I need to animate? So, for example, here, like first I'm gonna kind of look at the hips, and I feel like, and this doesn't have to be perfect again, because reference is just reference, but around here is kind of the apex of the hips, and I'm gonna add this in. There we go. I'm gonna remove that. And this is the apex of the hips, and I'm just gonna follow the hips first, and then I'm gonna add breakdowns somewhere else when I need them. I'm here. like the hips are rotating sideways, but here it's kind of like they are hitting a translation up as far as they go, and then they rotate a lot more. But even up to here, they don't have much rotation in Y. So I'm just gonna set a key here. And this is all part of my blocking. Like already this for me is starting to block things out. So sorry if it feels boring for everyone, but I'm gonna go through my thought process as to how I actually block a shot. So this would be me at work doing this, but more rushed because I don't have time to actually do this. And then the hips kind of go up and they kind of stay up. There is a slight change, like aside from them rotating, but there's like a lot of bounce that I can feel, particularly if I look at the lines in the on the pants, the trousers, however you want to call them. There's like an up here, and then they kind of go down here, and then they come up and rotate. And then I'm also looking kind of at the rest of the body just to see that everything is doing. I'm not missing something very important, but I'm gonna look at that later. Here, see for example here, I know that the hips stop around here, so I am going to set a key there, but I'm gonna go back after to see what else I need from the rest of the body and the hands and everything. And then here, the hips move sideways. And I'm focusing on the hips because they are driving the motion a lot. Here they come up. I could actually put this in the next frame. Now, here they come down and they kind of settle there. And my Maya is crashing? No, okay. Here they move a little bit sideways. Here there's a lot of information that I don't necessarily need right now. I'm gonna add it later. It's kind of like the hips are not really moving up until here. So I'm gonna add this key in just so that I have the information that I need. And again, I don't know if this is how people block things out. I personally feel very comfortable using this method. I've been through pretty much all the I've gone through all the other blocking methods that there are in terms of blocking, but for me analyzing the reference like this is what gives me the best results because I'm actually thinking about every single thing that the body is doing. So here I'm just looking, okay, the hips are, and I scrub through and I just look at where the hips stop moving. Here it kind of feels like the hips don't move as much and then they move. Oh my god, my Maya is really laggy today. Here I'm probably just gonna add more information in terms of the hands. I'm not gonna focus on the hips that much more. Like all of this, it feels like up to here, maybe. And then here the hips are coming down. And then they move to the side, so that's perfect. Hang on. Oh, the sound. I need to offset. Okay, I need to actually offset the sound. So maybe that's why it was feeling a little bit off. Let me just double check. Nope, I have it offset. Messaging with Madison. Okay, so let's get back to this. So if like the way that I decide my extremes is I first try to focus on the bigger things. So in this case, I try to focus first on the hips, and then I'm gonna like when I was doing these keys, I wasn't really looking at the whole body. I was only looking at the hips. Just because I feel like the hips are going to make, like, if the hips are coming up, the whole body is going to move up, so that apex is going to be there. And then now I'm going to do a pass where I basically look at the upper body. And then I look, Ellie! Hey! What are you doing? You should be enjoying your holidays. But hey. Um, so now I'm going to look at the upper body and the hands, and maybe not the head rotation yet. I'm going to see. And I'm going to see, okay, what do I actually need in between this? And this doesn't mean that these are all the keys that I'm going to have in my blocking. Actually, in my blocking, I'm going to have way less keys than what I have right now. But I like to analyze everything from the start so that when I get to animating, I only animate. I'm not thinking about, ooh, what's the body going to do here? I like to analyze. Basically, some people like to plan this ahead with like drawings and thinking about it and actually do a planning outside of Maya. I like to do it in Maya because I can't draw to save my life. So I have to do it with reference. When I do cartoony, I do drawings, but they're the worst thing ever. So I'm not going to do a cartoony shot clearly here. So here it feels like the chest, even the hips actually. I missed kind of the hips coming up. So here I'm going to have this, and then do I need a breakdown here? It doesn't feel like I need one. It does feel like the head keeps rotating back and there's a big spacing here. So I'm probably just going to have, because here it feels like it speeds up. I mean, it could be like just an encoding issue or whatever, but I do like that the rotation kind of hits an apex here. But since I'm going to be very lazy, probably I'm just going to have this here because the rotation is the same. Oh, yeah, Madison. Oh, I was so happy when they were like, ooh, do you want to do this? Madison already shot the reference. I was like, ah, yes. Oh, yes, I do want to do this. Oh my God, where did you go today? You didn't reply. I messaged with Ellie. Ellie is a friend of mine. And I was like, Ellie, where are you going today? Because he's in England. And he said, I booked so many tours. I'm like, yeah, where are you going? And he said, I have tomorrow off. Yes, but where are you going? where did you go? I want to know. If you want to just message me on WhatsApp. I want to know where you went. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a bit worried at you that he doesn't know. Yeah, stop. Tell me where you went. So here, now I'm looking at the upper body and I'm looking at everything here. I'm even looking at the head just because if the upper body isn't doing that much, then I'm going to look at the head. So here, the head, you have me, like, keep me as a friend. Tell me where you went. This is how friendships work. Tell me where you went on your freaking holidays. If anyone is on TikTok, it like I'm feeling the vibe of this girl that is like, read the prompt when she goes like through Tinder profiles, and it's like, maybe choose a different prompt. So I feel like the same. Like, tell me where you went. So here I'm looking at the head, and it feels like here the head stops rotating down. So I'm going to have a key there because I need that information. Whether I block it in at the beginning or not, that is irrelevant. And here I kind of have what I need. This is being very picky now, but if I look at the screen right arm, it's coming out. And I kind of like that. So I'm going to set a key when it stops coming out, like the extreme of that. And this is, we were asking, how do I choose? This is kind of how I choose. I just scrub through and I start looking at when do things change direction and when do they stop changing direction. Just because that means I can have a pose there or a breakdown there, and I'm going to get a good result. So basically what I'm aiming for with this is once I finish analyzing all of my reference, I turn this into stepped and I scrub through all of my keys and I'm like, does this read? Do I have all the information that I need? Am I missing anything? And then I'm going to start blocking. So probably like the most we're going to do today is analyze the reference because it does feel like I'm taking forever to do this. So here, for example, we're having a lot of information from like if I were to animate this and I've lost my keys, hang on. Oh, it's because I have the frame selected. If I were to animate this from here to here, it will all smoothly move at the same time. From here to here, everything will move exactly at the same rate at the same time. But if we look at the nuance of the movement, first the shoulders come up. So I'm going to have that key because then the body starts moving sideways. Oh, I did that tour. Oh, I love that tour. It's amazing. Really nice one. Windsor Castle, Stonehenge, and Bath are. I love that tour. I did it a few years ago, and it's so nice. So here, first the shoulders come up, and then she moves sideways. I need that information because if I choose block here to here, what's going to happen in my animation is going to happen this. This is how it's going to animate when I hit spline. But if I look at this, when I hit spline and I have that information in, it's going to do this, where the shoulders are going to come up and then the body's going to move. So I personally like to look at this at the beginning so that I know the information that I need. So from here to here, do I need any more information from this to this? I'm going to look at this. Not really. I mean, actually, this should be my key, not this one. And how did I choose that? Basically because, yes, maybe the hips, the apex it's here, but the apex of the head is here. It's more important and more visually, there's more, it's basically more, it's getting my attention more than what the hips are doing. So I'm going to just delete what it would have been my key here and just put it here so that it's there. And yes, reference is just reference. And now we're going to basically kind of copy one to one when I block out, but I don't copy all of the poses. Basically, what I do when I do my blocking pass is I choose my main key poses and then I do a play blast and I feel the timing. And I feel, okay, do I actually need this? Because we never want to copy reference one to one exactly because reference translated to animation never works well. You need to push things. You need to push the line of action. You need to push the timing. You need to push everything. So yes, right now I'm analyzing the movements so that I can get the nuance in. But then when I block things out, maybe all of this, I'm going to crunch up the time so that the flow feels better. We don't know. We're going to find it out. Okay, so here, it might be nice to have kind of a breakdown here because she hasn't really turned the head that far down, but far here. So I'm just going to have this as a breakdown. And then from here to here, do I need another breakdown? Not really. Honestly, I could if I wanted, but I don't need a breakdown here. So it's not that I'm adding breakdowns everywhere all the time. It's just where I need it. So for example, from here to here, there's a lot happening. If I block this out, I'm going to miss out a lot of information. For example, the best information that I can add is the kind of the extreme of that hand. And I can have it, again, it doesn't have to be super precise, but around here is kind of she's still moving sideways and then down. Oh, I don't remember who was my guide. It was literally to the date 2 years because it was a more than 2 years ago. But that's so cool that I love tour guides because they add a lot to your experience. And if you get a good one like you had, where they are very funny, it just makes the whole experience much better and you remember it way more fondly. So, oh, that's so good to hear that he was so funny. You should tell him, like, hey, you should be a stand up comedian. And actually, here, should I actually move? Nah, I was just thinking, should I? Nah, should I move that key? I'm also looking at the mouth, like, is it doing? But I think that the lip sync is not necessarily the same because we were not sure before. So, okay, from here to here, where do I need? So here the hips are actually, I don't know why I missed this. The hips are rotating and doing a lot of movement here. So I'm actually going to block this because there's a big change. And then the hand comes down and everything comes down, but there is a little bit of an arc, like her head suddenly rotates down here. So I'm just going to key around here so that I have that information. Do I need something here? Nah. And if we analyze this, her head starts coming down and then it rotates. So I'm just going to have that. And actually the head kind of comes down here and then it moves sideways. So I'm going to put a key here and I'm going to delete this one. I'm trying to find what is it that I need for everything to read. And now when I look at the upper body, maybe what I did for the hips is not as important. So I can just shift it around if I like, for example, here, I like that this screen right shoulder is coming up first, like a lot more. That's a nice breakdown to have because it's going to inform how the shoulder gets there. So I'm going to get that. We kind of now have an an extreme with the nose rotating down. And again, this is taking forever because I'm talking about it. In reality, I go through this incredibly fast. Um, if I don't have to explain everything that I do. So I know that this feels like it's taking forever, but it's not. It's just. So here, if we look at the head, there's like a slight head shake. Again, I might not add this in the animation. It might end up looking very I don't know, messy at some point, but she is kind of having like a laugh and a head shake. So I want that in. I want that information. And for all of this from here to here, I just need to know when she starts rotating the head. There's not that much with the body movement. There is some breath going on and some rotation X with the chest that you can see here that the chest is kind of rotating and like her shoulders are coming back. And so I'm going to also the head is coming down. So do you believe in stepped for detailing more than layered for the head shakes and stuff? Um Depends. So I personally don't animate in in a layered fashion. My brain doesn't like it. I've tried it and it doesn't go with my workflow because it feels like my brain is trying to get ahead too far to what it needs. I like to block it in, but I block it in roughly, and then when I move into spline, I make sure that it works. So I know that for some people, stuff like this works very, very well in layered because basically what they can do is if you work in layer, you would just pose, I don't know, maybe your body here, like your shoulders here and your shoulders there. And all you have to do then is just grab one shoulder and offset it. in when you like you would do this all in spline. You would not do it in step. You would do it in spline, and you would just offset the shoulder, and then one would come after the other. I personally, again, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying for my brain, that feels very messy because when I look at my timeline, let's say I select all my character and I look at my timeline, I might end up having a key every single frame. And from experience, I know that I will get very overwhelmed if I see that. So what I try to do is find ways to not get overwhelmed when I look at my timeline. Um, oh, 100%. I mean, I don't, when I go from step to spline, it's not that I remove and redo a lot. It's more that I'm cleaning up and I realize, oh, if I delete all of this and I just shape my curve a little bit, it works more nicely. Does that mean that I'm redoing everything in spline? No, I'm not redoing it. When I finish my blocking, it's pretty much 90% of the way there from what I need. I'm not redoing stuff. I'm only redoing stuff um if I block things very, very wrongly. Like if maybe my C curve is coming back and forth because I wasn't paying attention, and when I spline, suddenly my character is doing this. When like that's when yes, I would redo things. I've come to a point when if I block something out, it's pretty much all the way there. And when I hit spline, all I have to do is slightly tweak my curves so that they are adjusting to what I need. I'm not redoing things. Again, this is my method. I'm not sure. I know that, yes, for sure, I delete a lot of keys. If, like, right now, basically, Ellie and Ayub and I work at the same place in the same project, and our quota is relatively high for the quality that they want. And so right now I'm not blocking very detailed. My blockings are on fours, maybe threes, uh, possibly sixes. So a lot is kind of figuring it out in spline, which I'm not a big fan of. And so I'm not deleting a lot of keys. But if I'm blocking for myself, I like to block it maybe to a point in twos sometimes. And if I block in twos because I'm trying to get more nuance to the movement, sometimes I will delete keys, but it's more so that I have a clean curve rather than because I'm redoing a lot of stuff. I mean, when I'm splining, I definitely also push things a lot more. And the reason for this is because when we do something in blocking, it might feel nice, but then when we hit spline, there's a lot more information coming through, and maybe you need to push maybe the TY needs to go higher, or a gesture needs to be broader because it's not the same feeling that you're getting when you're splining than when you're blocking. Um, Yes, when I block, I do use the graph editor, but I'm not using it at all. Like I should use it more if I'm being honest. Sometimes I don't look at it for a bit too long, and suddenly I look at my graph and I'm like, oh, that looks very bad. So I try to like I always have it open. Basically, when I'm animating, my screen looks like this on my right monitor. This is my screen. I have my perspective view, my graph editor, my everything. I would have my picker here. Like all the tools that I need are on one side, and my shot cam is on my other screen, fully covering my screen. And I always keep the graph open. Do I look at it all the time? No, because sometimes I'm so into the process that I don't look at it. But the reason why I feel slightly confident of doing that is because I use the tween machine a lot when I block. So if I'm basically what I do is when I block things out, I block out my main key poses first. And again, I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna have time to actually get into blocking today. We're just gonna like if anyone wants to leave, oh no, bye. But I'm going to analyze the reference first. I'm going to actually do this like I actually do this. And I'm going to analyze my reference, and then I basically what my method of blocking is I block out my key storytelling poses, which should be 8 to 12 poses. The reason for this is partially because of how I was taught. I was taught that you should be able to tell a story with 8 to 12 poses. If you can't, you have too much. You have too many things going on. And so I do that also because I don't think of my blocking as key poses and breakdowns. I think of it as checkpoints, which, yeah, it's kind of the same thing. But the reason why I think of it as checkpoints is because maybe I'm not thinking about key pose. No, it's not including breakdowns. 8 to 12 poses are your storytelling poses, the poses that you need to tell a story. So let's say, I don't know, here, for example, what do I need to tell the story? I need the first pose. I need maybe here, which is kind of, I don't know, the like that moment where she lets go, and then the turn would be at one pose. Maybe this laugh would be another. Maybe this one would be another. And this look would be another. And this one. So, and maybe this one at the end. But basically, yeah, it is key poses, but it's storytelling poses. It's not the same as key pose. I mean, basically it's like this. Storytelling poses are key poses, but key poses are not storytelling. Not every key pose is going to be a storytelling pose, because I can have, I don't know, 100 key poses in my shot, but only 8 to 12 are going to tell the story, are the ones that are going to say, like, actually say what they have to. And let me see, actually, yeah, golden poses, exactly. Also that, like, but gold, like, let me see if I have, I don't know if I have all my process from Animation Mentor. I think maybe I can download it and show it to you guys. Because when I was in class 4, basically my mentor, Ray Ross, the one and only, the fantastic Ray Ross, he said, for the first blocking, only have storytelling poses. And I think I went a little bit overboard with it, and I did a little bit more than my storytelling poses, just because I got excited and I thought I needed more. But let me just double check and I can show you guys. But I need to download the file because I'm pretty sure I don't have it anymore in my computer, because a while back I thought, I don't need this anymore. I don't need my AM stuff. Why? I don't know why I said that to myself. But yeah, I found the file, so I can download it. And if I can find out where to download it. Okay, there we go. Yeah, there's so many names for this, but my way of processing my blocking is basically the reason why I go into story poses is because I think of my blocking as checkpoints. And the reason why I think of it as checkpoints is because how can I think of my blocking so that I know where I'm going and I know where I'm gonna be? I don't like straight ahead. And again, there's nothing wrong with straight ahead. I do a mix of pose to pose and straight ahead. But to do my straight ahead, I need to know where I'm going. I need to know where the character is going to be in space. I need to understand, like, is the character going to end up really far forward? Because let's say the character is here and they end up here. If I do it straight ahead, maybe I'm not getting them further enough. And then I need to tweak all my poses backwards. So I like to do checkpoints. And by checkpoints, I'm like, okay, what are the things that I need minimum for my animation to understand? Yes, storytelling poses, but for me, I kind of see them as checkpoint because maybe sometimes they're not necessarily storytelling poses. So for me, a checkpoint would be this pose for sure. This pose would be another because I like how it's turning. And then this one would be a checkpoint because it's like, where do I need to be? This would be a checkpoint for sure. Maybe this would be a checkpoint as well because I know I need to get there. Checkpoint would be around here. Maybe this would be a checkpoint because of what the hands are doing. They are gesturing. And then here. Yeah, I personally feel like I have a more artistic control, but also because I've been through this shot where if I hadn't done, I've been through, no, I've been through my fair share of shots in Spirit where I didn't do this method, and then I had to basically the character wasn't moving far enough. And then I had to go back and reanimate all the things that I had done. And that took so long. And I don't know why I didn't do the method that I was comfortable with. At the beginning, I think I was a little bit like, ugh. Yeah, in subtle shots, like personally, when I do a subtle shot, my blocking is very, very minimal. My blocking is basically on sixes and or eights. So my blocking is super, super minimal when I'm doing a subtle shot. I don't have that many keys. I don't have that much movement. I kind of quote unquote figure it out in spline, but because usually in subtle shots the body isn't moving that much, so I don't need that much information. Maybe I do my first blocking pass in sixes and eights, and then where I need, I will put, maybe when it's in eights, maybe I will put a key on a four, just because it will give me a little bit more control. But on subtle, this it's like a very tame version of what I'm doing, but I still go through my reference. Like I go through my reference no matter what, except for cartoony and creatures. But we're not doing that. So this is how, when I was doing my shot, this was my first blocking pass.
Okay, well, I'm off. A man I can't name is flying me to a place I can't tell you about. It's Paris! Wow, I gave that up easy.
So this was my first blocking pass, and uh this isn't really storytelling poses. My storytelling poses would have been this for sure. Let me do annotation tools. This would have been a storytelling pose.
Man, I
This probably would have been a
can't
storytelling
name is
pose. This for sure.
a place I can't
This one.
tell you
None
about.
of this ones. And this one.
I gave that up.
And then this one. How many do I have? I have. Can I go through my poses? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could add more if I wanted, because 8 to 12 is like a nice number. So, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. I still love this shot. I don't hate it. So I really like it too. I'm very proud also because of the struggle that it was. Like one day, if you guys want, I can download all the versions that I did, and I like when people say, "Oh my god, you're so talented." I'm not talented. If you see my process during AM, it was a lot of failure and a lot of redoing. My first lip sync pass, it was so horrible, it did not read. And I had to basically, in 1 week, I deleted my whole blocking and I re-blocked it for the lip sync 4 times. 4 times I literally deleted the whole blocking and started it again. And after that fourth time, that's when it looked good. So I'm not talented. I just work hard. Um, no, but Ellie, like you say, oh, you can break down subtle shots in steps. It's honestly, it's not a, like, you have also your method that works really well for you. It's like everyone has their own methods, and it doesn't mean that one method is better than the other. It just means that it's different. And whatever works for you, if it works for you, great. If it doesn't and you're feeling like you're struggling, that's when you need to start looking for another method. Like for example, I know I don't know how to animate creatures. I just don't. I struggle, and I struggle because they are in spline usually. You need to animate them in spline. So how do I tackle that? Until I have actual time to sit down and learn how to do it, which I desperately need to do, what I do is I block it out in half stepped, half spline until I figure it out, but I know that I need to get better at it. But like for example, if you can do subtle already in spline and it works for you, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter how you get there. The only thing that matters is getting there, the end result. How long did it take me for this shot? So basically, um, at AM, you are given 6 weeks to shoot reference and finish the shot. I had like a polished path, which was a lie. That was not polished. After the 6th week, and then I kept on polishing this shot for at least I would say a month. So basically, it would have taken me. I think this shot overall took me maybe 3 months to do. Oh, Ayub. so, so this shot took me like this shot how many frames? 240 frames with one character took me like 3 months. Again, I was learning also. Like in Spirit, we didn't have 3 months for a 200. Like my 254 frames in shot in Spirit took me maybe like 3 weeks with other shots in the middle. And I was like, oh, that's more than the project that we're working on now. In the project that we're working on now, I have 1 week to do a 300 frame shot with 4 characters. Then it's like, what? And that includes reference. And our work days are 7 hours. So not even 8 hours work. So you can imagine, like, also when you're learning, it takes longer. Again, I had to reblock my lip sync 4 times. I don't do that at work anymore. I don't reblock my lip sync because I know how to do it now. I also really love lip sync now. It's like, I think it was like a Stockholm syndrome where you are trapped with your captor so long that then you love the captor. So my captor was lip sync, and now I love it. Like, I really love lip sync. It's like facial animation is my favorite part. Um, how much would it take me to redo all of this right now? No, I wouldn't. 3 days would be. I don't know. I don't know, honestly. I mean, it's 200. Let's put it in this. If I were doing this in an actual movie with really nice quality, but not the highest quality, like nice quality. Nice quality is 3 to 4 seconds a week, and this is 240, which is like, why am I? It's obviously 10 seconds. Oh my god! But let's just do it so that it's visually there. Let's say 3. It would take me 3 weeks to do this, or like, yeah, a little bit less than 3 weeks. Oh, are you? I will be the master of animating watches. Um, and as long as nobody changes anything on the set, life would be always beautiful. So I think this would take me maybe 3 weeks instead of 3 months. Like, if I wanted to be very, very detailed, maybe this shot would take me like a month to animate. Do I want to redo this ever? No. Once was enough. One time animating this whole shot was more than enough. I don't need to. No thanks. Like, let's leave the past in the past. Or also, if anyone has seen, there's a very funny TikTok. I'm gonna find it for you guys just because it's super funny. Where, Frozen, where she says the past is in the past. There's this funny TikTok where they put like the misheard lyrics, and it's the pasta is in the pan, and now I can't unhear it. So every time that I think about the past is in the past, it's just the pasta's in the pan. So let me see if I can find it for you guys because it's so funny. And yes, I found it. So yeah, if anyone wants to laugh a little bit and get into my joke, uh, the pasta's in the pan. That's what I will say from now on. So let's get back to this. I definitely won't have time to start blocking, but this is part of my blocking. Then if you guys have any questions about this, feel free to join in and ask questions. So here, I know it's so funny. Yeah, I put this. This is enough. And then from here to here, I kind of like that her nose is coming down and then it's rotating. So I'm actually going to put a key here, and I might move this key maybe around here, because I also, when I block things out, I also tend to look at where the blinks are. Like there's a lot that's happening in my head when I'm analyzing my reference. Like putting it into words, sorry, it's really hard because it's a lot is happening in my head when I'm analyzing, and putting it into words is really hard. But I look at the blinks as well. So for example, here it matches kind of where the blink is, but maybe it doesn't so much. So maybe this is where the blink actually is. So I'm gonna delete this, just because this is something that I also see students miss a lot. They block out a whole shot and there's not one blink. And maybe you can have that be intentional, but blinks are very important because blinks tell a story. Blinks are there to help you either um show the show the yeah don't blink, show the emotion of the character. Maybe they help you edit because maybe the character is thinking about something very intently and then they get out of it and they blink to kind of, it's like blinking is editing, is internal editing. And so you blink and then you move that to another thing, or maybe the blink again, if you're rotating your head really fast, you blink so that, like I was saying before, you don't look at all of that blurriness happening in front of you and your brain doesn't get confused. Or or the character just blinks because maybe they are scared and they have a lot of blinks, or maybe they are flirty and they are like doing a flutter. So I also look at my blinks and where they are, and I try to not forget about that, just so that I know where they are. Like here there are some blinks, and here she opens her eyes, so that's going to be important for me, where her eyes open. And again, maybe in terms of the body, that's not necessarily a breakdown that I would have, but it is for me because of my blink. I need to have when the eyes are fully open so that I understand what I need. Again, this is just me analyzing how I do it. It doesn't mean it's the way to do it. It's just how over the years, I've managed to get this so that I cry less. Everything that I do in animation is so that I cry less, because every time I hit spline, a little part of me dies and I cry internally and a few times externally as well. So this is also that I cry very, very little. Here, I'm probably not going to have that many keys because there's not that much going on. Like, there is some things with the hands that could be nice. So I'm going to see if I do them. But first, I'm going to see, okay, what's the head doing? Like here, it feels like the upper body is coming up and then it stays there. So if the upper body, like around here, the head is rotating and then it's like it's stopping. This part is complex. So I'm going to look at it a bit more and feel, okay, where do I need it? Also, the expression changed. Like, where do I need it? But I think I'm going to just have a key in the middle. I don't think I need that much information there yet. And here, basically, I will put a key here as kind of, some people like to call it moving holds. Moving holds is basically where the body is just in one pose and it's just staying there. And that's why they are called moving holds, because it's holding a pose but living in it. And I want to know where my moving hold ends. Also, I haven't said moving holds in like a million years. I'm gonna save. I feel like that's a term that is used a lot when you're studying, and then no one talks about it after. They're like, moving holds, yes, just put a moving hold, and then nobody talks about it, or at least the people that I know. And actually, this is kind of where the nose has an apex down, so I'm just gonna put this here, and I'm gonna delete that one. And this is really nice. There's a lot of subtleties here. So if I'm looking at the hands, they kind of start rotating here quite a bit and then they open. So I'm gonna put a key here before they do anything. And then now I'm looking at the hands because this was there's more motion in the body, in the hands and in the body. So I'm just gonna key all of this so that I get all of those nuances to this. So maybe here I will put a key. Actually, it feels kind of like, because of probably the encoding, there's a few frames here and there that are missing. So I'm just trying to figure out what I need. Probably in this area, I'm going to have a lot of more keys to detail this motion. But for now, I'm not going to have them so much. Like here, the hands start rotating, but they don't come in so much. So I'm going to have a key here. And I think I have a shortcut for insert key, but I also think it didn't work so well when I used it. So I'm not going to use it. And then from here to here, there's not that much except the hands are coming in. Maybe I would put a breakdown here just to understand the spacing, but that's it. And then the elbows come out. And then the hands rotate and come down here. And then we already marked this. And then the hand opens here. So see here, I don't have that much information that I need. Maybe I would key here because it's before the hand starts opening. So it's like I need that information. And then over here, do I need anything? Not really. All of this from here to here, I don't need that much information. And from here to here, I'm actually missing a lot of things. I'm missing out this look sideways. So I need this key because she's looking to the side. So it's important. And then her head keeps moving, keeps rotating to the side up to here. And then we have this, but I can just put that at the very end. So, oof, yes, we made it. We did our analyzing of the reference. Yay! So then I'm going to save so that I don't lose anything. And I'm going to turn this into stepped. And now I'm just going to scrub through and make sure that it reads that maybe I'm not having too many keys or too few. So it's like, is this reading? If I animate this, will it read? Yeah, it has pretty much everything that I need. Is the timing good? Let's see it in stepped. It's gonna feel good because it's a reference like from someone who can act actually well. But it's good to just double check, like, do I need to retime something so that it's faster? Would it feel better if I retime it? Is the timing working? I like to just double check because then I move into my actual blocking.
Oh, I'm not acting. Oh, I'm not acting.
I feel like there's something about the timing of this that for me, I don't know if it's the fact that it feels like it's not that every sound has to hit on the, like every gesture has to hit on the sound, but it feels like we're not hitting anything for me. And I feel like we could, like especially the huh. So again, I don't know this, so I don't know how it was. Maybe there's something that I need to adjust, or but like
I'm not acting.
I feel like we can adjust it. Like this movement here, I feel like it should be on the ha, because here she's saying ha, but her body language is going down, so it feels a little bit off this ha. Like there, usually when we laugh or anything, we tend to go up, and every time that we do a higher pitch in our voices. Let's say you're asking a question and you say, I don't know, where is this? In the where is? That is going to be a higher pitch. So our body and our everything wants to go up. It wants to help that pitch. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I do it too. That's why, like, again, I'm being cautious just because it's not my project, but I personally do that all the time too. I adjust things in my in Maya so that it fits. And so then I'm going to adjust this however I want. So now I'm going to turn the sound on, and I'm going to fix this in my liking before I move into blocking. Because if I start blocking now, it's going to feel off, and then I'm going to have to do it anyway. So, yeah. So let's feel it out. I know that basically the main part that I want to retime is this. I want this particular pose to hit here in the I really like that. I feel like it could be really nice. But then we're going to have a lot of space where it doesn't feel like the character is doing much. So we need to figure out where can I hold the character for longer so that we hit that where I need it. And I know I want this, So I'm going to grab basically, where is this? Basically, maybe I can grab it from here and move it to where I need it. And I moved it too far. Okay, and then before I start doing anything, I want to figure out if I put this where I need it. And then I don't want to lose the sideways look at the end, so I'm just gonna need to figure it out. So I'm going to rename this stream to Planning a Shot Demo rather than blocking. Although again, this is part of my blocking.
Oh, I'm not acting.
I kind of like that actually. And I think that what I'm gonna do is delayed when she turns around, because I think that's going to look really nice if I delay it a little bit more. It's like she's thinking about something. She's going to have that in her mind. And also because if not, what do we do here? Maybe around here. I can push this. And I'm gonna figure it out as I go here because probably this might be too much.
I'm not acting.
Okay. And in this moment, I play Blast a lot. Yeah, for this, I don't really use it because I kind of want to figure it out myself. But I do the unit. Also, we need to talk about the retiming the snaps because I've been using this at work. Oh, I don't know. Don't show me. Yes, it's off. Whatever. I've been using what you showed, the smart snap keys, but usually for it to work, I need to set smart key first, and it sets a key on every frame. It doesn't matter if that, let's say here I have a key here, and then I want to, I don't know, there's a few here, but it will set a key on every single frame of the area that I select instead of doing like a smart bake. So I'm not sure if I'm using it wrong or if that's how it works, but it was a bit annoying because I just wanted it to do like a smart bake rather than putting a key everywhere. So I'm not sure if I'm using it right or maybe there's some setting that I'm missing. Yes. It's like basically let's say I have I can even show it here. I will just save this. But let's say I have a key here and I don't have keys here, right? And then, yeah, I don't know. But let's say this is what I have. So basically, let's say this is 0.2, and then this is also 0.3, whatever. And this is, okay, I need to move this first. I'm just doing this just to show Dan something so that he can help me because I have him here right now. And this is 0.1, right? So I select this and I don't want keys here because I don't need them, right? But if I do just a smart snap keys, for me it didn't work last time that I did it. Let me try it again. Oh, and now it works. Okay, I don't know. Now it works. So forget I said anything, Dan, because clearly now it works. Also, oh no. Where were my? There we go. I don't know. Last time I tried it at work, the smart keys didn't do anything. Like literally everything stayed where it was. And I had to go in and do a set smart key, which would set a key on every single frame. And then I could use smart snap keys. Yeah, dude, seriously, every time it's like when I don't know, you were like, "Oh, mom, see this happens." Or yeah, IT. It's like the same with IT when you're like, "I can't do this." And then IT comes and they do it and you're like, "It wasn't working." Like literally a minute ago it wasn't working. It's the same. So, okay, it works now. Exactly. So where were we? Oh, we were retiming this. Let's see if this feels better.
Oh, I'm not acting.
I like this.
Oh, I'm not acting.
And even in this moment, I feel like there's a lot of so I'm gonna add that in when I block it out, but I don't have it in my reference, so who cares? I'm gonna add it in anyway. Yeah, maybe our work files come from hell. They are all cursed.
I'm not
So
acting.
I'm really liking this. I love Madison's acting.
I'm not acting.
Perfect. That's what we need. This is why, yeah, Madison's reference is amazing. This is why I do this before I start blocking, because see how much we already retimed and moved around and decided before I started blocking. And this is in stepped. So this is what my final blocking is going to look before, like I know already what's going to happen before I started. Even here, I think we can change the
I'm
ending.
not acting.
Like let me think.
I'm not acting.
Because I kind of like the ending at the like before, so I think that you can move fail to what? I do block my face in the first pass. I may not block out my whole lip sync, but when I block, basically the way that I block, and this is gonna be maybe the next stream, next Thursday, I'm gonna actually start blocking. And that's also gonna help me figure out a few things in terms of my setup. Basically, when I block out my shot, or what I do is I block out the body, and every time that there's a big face change, I put it in. So basically, which face poses I would block in, and then I do a lip sync pass on my blocking. But my first blocking pass, which won't be the one that I show to a director necessarily, it's just my first blocking pass for myself. I would basically put this face, I would put it in. Do it. Do it. Maybe you can also block the shot that you have left. And then we can finish. We can actually finish your short. I already know, Dan, that this is going to take me a million streams to finish because, as you can see, I'm kind of like Bo. I derail the conversation, I go on a million tangents, and then I come back. And when I come back, we barely moved from the first step. Uh, but yeah, now I understand Bo better. So, which face poses I would put in? I would put this one because it's like the extremes again. I may not put in everything on my first blocking just because my first blocking pass I want to feel the body. And the reason why I'm not blocking out the full face, the full blocking, is because what if I change things? What if suddenly I want the head to turn faster? If I did my blocking, I blocked my lip sync in a pose to pose fashion. I don't do layered like a lip sync. And my poses are a lot towards camera because I'm looking for a nice line of action. I'm looking for a nice negative space with the mouth. Okay, so if I block too nicely the face and then I go into I do a play blast and I'm like, oh, the body sucks. I need to change things. I'm going to lose a lot of time. So this would be another pose. All of this would be the same pose. This would be another pose just because of the eyes. This maybe I would put in. This face pose I would definitely put in, which is a tweaking the previous one. This I would put in. And the end pose I would also put in. But I wouldn't do the whole acting. All of that I wouldn't. Like this one is not a very complex lip sync animation. There's not a lot of going on. Like when she's speaking, she's not really towards camera, and so we don't have to do that much. But I don't. When I'm doing my first blocking pass, I only block out main again storytelling poses basically on my mouth, and then once I'm really happy with my blocking for the body, then I move on to the face. I do have a few face poses, again, as checkpoints, but the reason for that is because if I leave the face in neutral, I feel that my blocking, I'm not pushing it enough, but that's a mental thing for myself. I put the face there so that I understand the intention and the emotion in that moment. If I don't put it, and this is from experience when I didn't put it, like I don't know why not seeing the face how it was in the moment made me feel like I didn't need to do enough. But if I see a smile, now I understand, okay, where do I need to push this? Because now I understand the actual emotion. Is it a mental thing? Of course, you can do whatever you want. If you want, you can have the eyes closed, no face. You can even block out, like put a I don't know, sphere in front of the face so that you don't see it. Whatever works for you. For me, I like to have it there. It's all basically my whole way of animating is a mental exercise. Yeah, exactly what Ayub is saying. If you don't have it there, you can lose connection with the audience because that's the first thing that they look at 100%. So what were we doing? All right, we wanted to bring back the end because we lost these nice frames and I really like this. So let's look at this back again and just figure out where can we trim a little bit.
Oh, I'm not acting.
I think we can trim maybe a bit of this part. And then at the end, maybe a little bit. Oh, yeah, I think you sent me a message on Instagram. I'm so sorry. Could you put the link here again? I've been having a bit of intense weeks lately and I kind of forgot to see your message. I saw like the preview and I was like, "Oh, I need to reply to this." And then I forgot. Can you put the link please over here and then I can look at it now. Sorry, I forgot. Honestly, my week has been crazy. So we said that we can retime here, and here is when, yeah, we can use the tool that Dan was mentioning, because it will take a lot of time to actually do this. Put it here. Yeah, that's okay, but can you send me the link? Because I don't have it. I close every link that I open during the stream right during the stream. Thank you. So let me just retime this very quickly, and then we can do that. Maybe up to here. So this whole part, actually, I don't want it here. I want it here. We can retime this a little bit. Maybe even this could be slightly faster, but definitely. Actually, hang on. Which part did I say? This slightly faster. And then, every time I need to select this. And maybe even that I can just see it myself. That I can just move this here. Okay, let me look at this and then I'm gonna look again at that. So for the boards, oh, I remember this. Let me just play them again, just so that also people can see if they haven't.
He's an angel. He's just happy all the time. Morning, afternoon, middle of the night, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., all the a.m.s.
Okay, and then this one.
I have been trying to put my grandma in a nursing home for years now, and she just won't go. So I've started gaslighting her.
I think both ideas could be really fun. Personally, I really like this one. I think it has it can have like really fun comedic timing. And it's not that I would never do this one. I would just do it after. I would focus on this one first. I think that it's gonna I feel like you're gonna have a lot of fun doing it. It's gonna be really fun. So yeah, I would go with this one. So going back to this. Actually, this could be slightly faster. I don't know what that means, Dan. Oh no, something happened. That's okay. And then I'm gonna want to bring back this. And I try to never have the last frame on the last frame, because then when you play Blast, you don't see it. And I'm gonna close this. Oh, where is that? I'm gonna have to Google who is this outside of the stream, so that just in case, because I don't know what you guys are watching. Oh, she seems very cute. She seems like a cute person. Why does it say what happened to her? Did she die? No, I don't know. I don't know her. Okay, so let's play this now. Okay.
Oh, I'm not acting.
Oh, this kind of works.
I'm not acting.
Oh. The only thing that I'm not really enjoying is that if I were to block this out, what's going to happen is that the beats are going to feel very even after this. It kind of feels like everything happens 1, 2, like everything with the same rhythm. So what I think is that I want to get into this sooner. And I'm guessing also that's what Madison actually did in the reference, but it gets sometimes lost in translation. But I'm kind of scared of what's happened. I'm gonna go back to what I had, just because I'm scared that I'm gonna lose the keys that I so carefully put in, because there's a reason why I put a key here. There's a reason why, and if I think I kind of lost something, so I'm gonna go back and actually do this properly. So we know that up till here, we really like what we have. So I'm not gonna focus on this. And this is the only area that I actually need to work. I know that this needs to get there faster. So I'm gonna focus on this first. And here, there's like a lot of time that I can take out. Again, I personally like to do this manually. Sometimes I do use that tool, but I like to use that tool more in my animation and not in my reference, because if not, I am afraid of losing things. And I probably can remove a lot of keys from here and make this faster. There's a lot of information here that I might not need. And again, doing this before I start blocking, because I don't want to cry. And maybe even this one. I don't need it. And potentially this can get there faster. And maybe with this, we kind of already fixed the main problem that we had. Let's see if this feels right. And again, I know that people may think, oh, this takes forever. In reality, if this is something that you shot the reference, that you started doing your, like you did the most of the work beforehand, this doesn't really take that long because you already know the beats and you already knew, you had in your head what you wanted to do. This is a different case just because I'm just starting this from scratch in like a new project that I wasn't there, so I'm trying to figure it out as I go. In reality, if I'm shooting reference, I already know what I'm hitting, so I already know what I'm expecting from this reference. I can still move it. Because I also could move the huh, could be there, which is probably what Madison went for. So I'm going to actually change this quite a bit. I'm probably going to just remove this frame and see if I can match this. Now I went too far. Slightly too far. This is where the huh is. No, I actually didn't go far enough. Then people think, see, she's not really that good. She takes forever to do these things. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And then it gives me actually a nice time for that look back to actually settle. Play blasting. Okay, I think that feels better. It's not perfect, but it's getting there. Let's just play blast this. I can't English anymore apparently. Let me just check that no one sent any SyncSketch links on Discord, which sometimes happens, and then I see them too late. But no. Okay. And also, if anyone wants me to review anything, any feedback, just let me know. I don't mind looking at feedback. I'm just doing this because there weren't that many people that needed feedback, and I thought, maybe this would be a nice demo.
I'm not acting. Oh, I'm not acting.
I kind of think we can get into that look slightly sooner. I know I keep tweaking this, but I want this to be perfect before I start. I don't want to change things when I'm blocking, because then it feels like, why did I, like this, that's not planning. Like when you plan a shot, you need to make sure that when you get into Maya and you start animating, you animate. You don't think about the next step, you just do it. And even this is not enough planning. Like a good planning would be figuring out, I don't know, if I could draw, I would draw out really nice face poses and have them already in a drawing so that I know what I need. Stuff like that. I can't draw. So part of my plan, my part of my blocking, unfortunately, is figuring things out because I don't have that extra skill. But maybe one day I will actually do it and learn how to draw. So basically, what I want is to get to this a little bit sooner, maybe. Maybe, you know what? I might just do it in my animation without doing it here. I feel like. Let me just see. No, I think if I spline this, it's going to look very, very slow anyway. So, also, in terms of timing, I've had this question from someone very recently who asked me, like, oh, can you do a stream maybe on timing and feeling out the timing in step? And I thought, because they said, oh, I feel like when I'm blocking, I kind of just figure it out as I go, and I'm not sure what I'm doing. And I think kind of my method is the same way, but I feel like the more I animate, the more I feel the timing in step, and I understand what it's going to look like when I hit spline. So that's why I'm trying to time it now, just to figure out if this is going to be good. Because if not, there's something that happens when you block out too much in too many frames where the character isn't moving too much, and if it's not a solid shot, it really feels slow and spliny, like the character has no life. So yeah. And since this is a shot by Dana, I can be like, hey Dan, maybe we can trim a few frames. Oh, I forgot to turn on the audio. I'm so smart. Let's see if this works. Madison is so good at reference. I need to rewatch the stream and take a lot of notes. I couldn't take notes because I was there, so I need to rewatch.
Oh, I'm not acting.
I really like that.
I'm not acting.
I don't know about you guys, but for me, this feels very nice.
I'm not acting.
Also, now it feels really nice also because clearly Madison here was saying acting, and we managed to hit exactly when she says it. So now that's why the reference feels better. And before it felt a little bit off because when we put it in, it didn't fit. And that's something that can happen to like anyone when you're shooting reference. I have to go in and match first where my audio is to my reference. And even though, like, let's say I'm saying the actual words in my reference, when I put it in Maya, maybe it doesn't fit. Why? I don't know, conversion, or maybe when you do it, it's not as fast as it actually should be, even though you think you're saying it as fast as it should. So then you tweak it until it fits and you're happy. So let's watch it again. See if there's anything we need. Yeah, I think that's going to give us a really successful thing. So I'm going to save this so that I don't cry if I lose it. And yeah, I think I might call it here just because we've been streaming for almost 3 hours, and a nice cup of tea would be really nice right now. So I think I'm going to leave it there. We have everything prepared. The only thing that I'm going to do is just position there where I need it. And then next stream, we are going to actually start blocking. And I'm basically going to block this shot out on the stream when there's not that many people that need feedback. Of course, whenever and no, and whenever anyone needs feedback, I will stop and I will give feedback. But in the meantime, I will just keep blocking this. Like if in case it's interesting for people to watch. I see that people do like watching other people's workflows. And yeah, if you don't like it, let me know. I can prepare other demos of something that's more interesting, but do tell me what you want to see. Like, oh, I want to see a demo on, I don't know, something very particular. And then I can prepare a demo for that rather than just doing whatever. Oh, thanks, Ayub. Not as good as you. Ayub is really good. Like, if you guys see his work, it's really good. Like, amazing. Like, when I first started at my work, something that I recommend everyone do, but I do it myself for my own personal benefit, is go to wherever you can see everyone's shots. Like, we have a thing called Shot Grid where you can see everyone's work, and I start watching all the animations, and then I start pinpointing who are the top animators, because then I can follow their work and get inspired and learn from them, and also steal things from them. Like, maybe there's a facial pose that I like. Like, you're not stealing, you're keeping the character on character. And Ayub is one of them. I was looking at, like, especially cartoony things, he has a really nice feel for it that I don't. So stealing knowledge. Cool. Okay, yeah. So if you guys like this, I'm gonna keep basically. I need to force myself to animate after work. The reason for this is after work I'm usually very tired and I don't want to animate. And then on the weekends, the last thing I want to do is be on my computer. So this is gonna help me if I do it on stream. I'm actually going to get back and I'm gonna get a shot for my reel. And Daniel and Madison are not gonna hate me for taking so long to do this shot. Uh, and then we can all learn together. And maybe you can also give me feedback as I go and be like, oh, maybe here the character could be doing this or could be doing that. And then we all learn together. So let me just switch here. So if no one has any questions or anything that they want me to give feedback on, I'm going to actually, you know what I'm going to do after this? Probably I already closed Maya, but what I'm going to do is prepare my anim school picker so that it actually works and we don't lose time next time, because I can't animate with, like, I can animate without a picker but not the face. I can animate the pick, like with the body I don't use the picker unless it's something very particular, like maybe I need to select a lot of controls, then I use the picker. For the face, 100% I use the picker. I can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Because it's there for everyone. I'm going to give Anim School this, that sorry I am. I'm kind of bringing you down a little bit, but Anim School has a lot of things that they give to the community. There's this free picker. They have a lot of videos online. Like the other day, there was this really cute 6-minute video on animating eyebrows. And I was like, hey, that was really cool. Like, it was mainly the things that I already knew and did, but it was nice kind of to get a reminder of why. What's no longer free? The picker? I think the picker is free. I've just downloaded it. It is. It's just I can't make it work because it's very hard to make things. Haha. Yeah, sure. We're not gonna pay for it because it's free for everyone because Anim School is super nice and they gave us a picker. So I'm just gonna have to figure out why. Maybe I accidentally downloaded the Mac version instead of the. Maybe I think I may have accidentally downloaded. If they're gonna make people pay for the picker, then we're all just gonna use the old picker, and it's just not gonna be good for them. So, and also I need to actually block this shot out because I recently got the trial version for Animbot. So if I want to do it before I have to pay a lot of money, I need to chop and actually do this. So I'm gonna retry to set this picker up so that it works. I got used to using the MG picker, which we also use at work. So I don't know why my brain went to, oh, that's the picker that we're using for this. And I forget that people outside of our work use Anim School Picker because it's free and it's really good and it does what it needs to do. So yeah, I'm gonna let everyone free go have a great day. For this weekend, we have a stream with Alex Ferreira and Nico Burmester. They are two good friends of mine. Nico is from Chile, Alex is from Brazil. And basically, why I wanted to do this stream, and actually maybe Ayub, if you're free, maybe I can get you in as well if you're free. Basically, what the reason why I want to do this stream is to because I always get questions of how did you get to England? How did you do this? How you did that? Oh, how is why are you busy? It's at like 9 p.m. What are you doing at 9 p.m. on a Saturday? Um I'm gonna add you there. I'm gonna message you after this. Actually, I don't know if I know how to message you. Oh yes, I do have your WhatsApp. So basically, the stream is going to be about how we got out of our countries into North America and Europe, and you can ask us any questions. How was your visa process? How did you get into that studio? What did you need to do? What was your reel like? What did you have to show? All of the questions that anyone who's not from North America or maybe you are and you want to go to Europe, because Ayub and I, like now that I put Ayub here, we are both in the UK. So maybe you can ask us questions about that. So basically, it's a stream for you guys to get all of the questions out of how did we actually get there? Because I feel like there's a lot of streams about a lot of things, but not about how do you get out of your country? Because I remember when I was studying, I was for a full year of animation mentor. I was very depressed, thinking I'm never gonna get out of my country. I was just depressed because I thought I'm never gonna get a visa, I'm never gonna get this, I'm never gonna get that, and now I'm in England, which was my dream country to work in. So it can be done. The problem is that people don't really talk about it. So that's what we're gonna do in this stream. Yeah, that we're not gonna that's not how it works. We're gonna talk about all the legal ways in which you can do this because you don't want to get deported. Okay? So yeah, um if you are from a country where you're unsure how things work, again, we're gonna talk about our own stories and how it worked for us. It doesn't mean that these are the different paths that everyone has to take, but these are just so that you have different perspectives and examples of how it can work. So feel free to send questions either on Instagram, on our Discord channel, and I'm going to share with you guys all of our links. You can also follow our YouTube, our YouTube channel, our Spotify and Google podcast if you want, where we will upload that Q&A as a podcast in case people want to listen to that as well. So let me send all the links so that everyone can follow us everywhere. And if you have any questions about this, just please send them either to me or on Discord or Instagram, wherever. Hang on. And here we are, all of our links. If I can post them, there we go. There we go. So yeah, that's it. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. PST, feedback with Madison. Come with your links ready and get good reviews because she's amazing. So yeah, have a great rest of the week and see you maybe on Saturday. Bye.